I wanted to play series of Legends of Heroes games, and I happened to come across the first part, namely Trails in the Sky first chapter, and today we'll talk specifically about it, and we are starting. We begin in the Bright family's home, where a girl is waiting for her father with an important mission from the Bracer Guild. Estel's father brought a small gift the size of a child, and yes, he brought her a little injured boy, but she wants Snickers. They laid the boy in bed and tried to find out who he is, what his name is. The boy started to raise his voice and scream, and Estel began to jump on him, but in the end he said his name. It was Joshua. After some time, our heroes grew up, and one day when Estel waking up, she heard her new family member playing beautiful music on the harmonica. By the way, it's been 5 years since that day. Later, their father called them for a small breakfast before heading to take the exam to become a bracer. Also, Cassius noted that for now they could only become junior bracers, not full-fledged ones. In general, a bracer is something like an adventurous guild, similar to those guilds you see in anime. The system here is the same. The next day, Joshua and his sister finally go to the city to take the test. Still, their father gives them another task, to buy a libel news, and gives them some money. In the city, they enter the Bracer Guild, where their teacher, a lovely lady named Sherazade, or simply Shara, awaits them. She loves to drink a lot. She also serves as our guide, explaining the basics of being a bracer, such as taking on and completing missions. But okay, let's continue. We came here for a different task, namely to pass the trials to become a bracer. Then she leads us to the herbal factory, explaining that we can slightly enhance our characters using quartz stones that are inserted into us, allowing us to use skills and giving us certain stats. Our test mission is to retrieve an item from a chest in the sewer and bring it to Shara. After killing all the monsters, we retrieve 2 small boxes from the chest, and Estelle wants to see what's inside, but Joshua dissuades her. We deliver these 2 boxes to Shara, and inside there are badges that make us bracers. Now we are junior bracers. On the way home we meet 2 friends, Luke and Pat, who are in a hurry somewhere. Luke finds it hard to believe that a girl at such a young age became a bracer, and then they, along with Pat, head to a secret place where they can train. Meanwhile, we go to the merchant to buy a new newspaper. The seller also gives us a book of recipes, and now Estelle can delight everyone with her cooking. At the city exit we run into Aina, who asks us to call our father because Luke and Pat went to a dangerous tower where there might be monsters. Well, since we are now bracers, we get our first mission to rescue these 2 foolish boys. We reach the first floor of the tower and hear Luke's voice, but then he goes silent. They must have gone to the 2nd floor. Now we have to save the assets of these 2 boys from flying monsters. But Estelle gets a bit carried away after defeating the monsters and loses vigilance, and another monster approaches from behind. Cassius comes to the rescue and says that Estelle lacks skill and understanding of the situation. He suggests returning home, but first a report must be made to the guild. At the same time we receive a letter for Cassius' bride. We take the letter home, and as turns out the letter is from the Erebonian Empire. During dinner Cassius explains that he will have to go back to work. He suggests that they finish some work for him, since this is a long journey and they have become members of the Bracer Guild. Cassius leaves at 10 in the morning, flying to Gransel. The night before Cassius leaves, he sits and drinks alcohol, and Joshua can't sleep. He decides to talk to his father, who tells him that there are strange movements in the Empire that are very worrying. So tomorrow has come, the time when Cassius departs for Gransel. Our first task, assigned by Cassius, is to address an issue at a farm where farmers are unhappy about monsters destroying their fields. Upon arrival at the farm, we learn that these monsters appear at night, numbering around 3 or 4. We wait for the night and now need to investigate the area. These creatures turn out to be some sort of cats or something similar, however they constantly evade us and don't let us catch them. Finally, reaching them will have to drive them away. We defeat these cats, but the farm owner decides not to kill them outright. Instead, he opts to teach them a lesson so they won't come back. The next morning we leave to report back to the guild. After reporting the successful completion of the task, we immediately receive another one. This time it is a request from the mayor and we need to bring a specific item. The mayor provides a complete description of the task. We are to retrieve a septum crystal from the Amalgamine. In the cave at Mine, Chief Cat and retrieve the crystal needed for the mayor. Estelle takes this magical crystal and starts running around like a child. It is brightly and beautifully glowing. Suddenly something happens in the cave and monsters infiltrate. Our simple task of delivering the precious stone turns into protecting the ordinary people working here. We save all the miners and return to the mayor to hand him his crystal. Upon arriving at the mayor's, we find a girl named Josetta visiting him. She is a student at the Genius Royal Academy. The girl seems not suspicious, but nonetheless we hand the crystal to the mayor. He says it is a gift for Her Majesty, who is turning 60. He thanks us and we head back to the guild. There we report to Aina and tell her about what happened in the cave. She gives us a new task from our father, which involves helping the reporters write a new news article. In a bar we meet a man named Niall Burns, a reporter for the Liberal News. He wants to go to the tower where we have been before, but he needs to go to the very top. He has a companion, a lovely woman with glasses, who takes amazing photos. Unfortunately, her camera is broken and she decided to fix it, but she lacks the funds. Niall arrives, helping to solve the money issue from his own pocket. The girl's name is Dorothy. We reach the tower and Dorothy tries to take pictures but falls asleep. It turns out she takes amazing photos, but in her own strange style. Through a battle, Joshua and Estelle make their way to the top of the tower, trying to protect Niall and Dorothy. Reaching the top of the tower, there is a beautiful scenery, perfect for a couple of photos. There, we find some ancient device. Joshua, with keen eyes, notices someone hiding behind a statue. He turns out to be a harmless archaeologist named Alba, studying the towers to gather data on ancient civilizations. He tells us a story about the 7 treasures sent out with power gifts from Aedeos. These ancient treasures once ruled the earth, seas and skies using their power. However, 1200 years ago a mystical catastrophe occurred, destroying the ancient civilization, and these Septarians were lost. As part of the legend, these Septarians slumber somewhere within Liberal. That's the story of these towers, and this archaeologist is searching for clues to uncover the truth. While Dorothy took photos, the others enjoyed the beautiful landscapes of Roland. With Alba we return to Roland, concluding our escort mission. We go to the guild to report that we completed the task, and everything went well. However, at that moment the mayor arrives at the guild, reporting that he has been robbed. We go to the mayor's house and find complete chaos. Also, the crystal was stolen. Those who were at home except the mayor were locked in the attic. Joshua, a true genius, managed to determine that the safe was breached using magical dust that eliminates fingerprints, allowing them to discover the password. Additionally, in the attic we find a leaf from a tree serving as evidence and a crucial lead. We discuss our suspicions with the mayor and Shara, specifically that the burglars entered through the terrace on the 2nd floor. They were likely those who recently arrived in Roland. We find out that it may have been Josette herself who recently visited the mayor. After extensive running around and searching for this girl, Joshua finally figured out to show the leaf we found. Shara mentioned that such trees grow in Mistwald. On our way we encounter Niall, who says they're heading to Bowes, another region in Libau. Finally we reach this forest, where we encounter Josette with the stolen septum. Estelle's natures come to the fore. She is not just going to listen and watch, but wants to confront. The 3 of us plan to punish this rogue and take the gift for Her Majesty. After defeating her, her brother arrives on an airship and calmly takes her away. Josette and her brother Kyle fly to the Bowes region. Turns out these guys and this girl are sky bandits who inhabit the Bowes region. We return to the mayor, give him the crystal and go to the guild where we tell them what happened. Anna informs us that to become senior bracers we need a recommendation from each region in the kingdom. We get the first one from Roland. Then a call comes into the guild, stating that the airline Lind has disappeared in the boss region. Now the royal army is investigating this incident. Also, Joshua and Estelle's father was on that airline. Well, we'll leave the continuation of the story and the search for their father for the next series.